Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about why you need 100 virtual tokens, because it's pretty interesting and kind of crazy what's going on within the virtuals ecosystem. We've got a ton to go over today and some really interesting and important information. So let's go ahead, dive right in. We'll not waste any more time just because we do have a ton to go over. So starting out, we can see on Crypto Bubbles a pretty nice day in the crypto market overall, though we can see actually virtuals token and AI16Z. So AI agent tokens down in a market that's kind of generally overall green. So a little bit interesting there. Overall, though, I don't think this actually matters a whole ton just because the market itself for AI agent tokens looks huge. The mind share is basically like AI agents and DeFi, DAFAI, being kind of the two biggest things that people can talk about, both AI agent related. So there's a lot of crazy stuff. So seeing a little bit of red here doesn't actually worry me too much just because of all the like hype and crazy stuff going on within the ecosystem. If we do look, I want to talk about kind of how the virtuals ecosystem works, why 100 virtual is so important. As we can see right here on the bonding curve, you need 100 virtual to essentially like start the AI agent creation. So obviously you can put more into that if you want to own more of your own agent, but essentially you need 100 to start it, and then essentially moves along the bonding curve. Once there's a total of 42,000 virtual, then it essentially becomes like sentient. It's no longer in the kind of like that launch pad stage. If we do go look at the virtuals protocol, we can see these are the ones that are essentially like sentient, and then we can go to the prototype. These are the ones that are still along kind of like that bonding curve. We can see haven't actually graduated out of it yet. If we click into like, let's just check this one out, we can see that it's 93.3% of the way there. So getting pretty close, but not quite there yet. And so we can see, you know, that it's kind of working its way through, but hasn't actually launched. If we go back to kind of the overall, but we can see, you know, these are the ones that have launched. A ton of different things kind of going on within the AI agent and the virtuals ecosystem kind of overall. Pretty interesting stuff. If we do look at the token price, we can see actually a ton of recent volatility. We basically went from like $2.25 to like $5 in the span of like 15 days, let's just call it. And then we went basically from $5 back down to like $2.25 in like 10 days. So some pretty like crazy volatile price movement on the virtuals. We'll actually blow this up so we can see it a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, some pretty crazy movements here. This was kind of, I would say, pretty like orchestrated right here. This was kind of where we saw max capitulation, a ton of like liquidations happening within the wider crypto market, and AI agents, just since it had seen such mega runs to the upside, did actually come back a little bit. The price history is actually cut off here. I think this is something with BTCC. They're not pulling in too much data here, which I'm not 100% sure why, but the price or the amount that we've come back is like not even close to the amount that we've run up. We've seen a really spectacular run out of the virtuals ecosystem over the past probably 2 or 3 months. Really wild stuff. And so the fact that we've kind of recovered a little bit, in my opinion, is actually a healthy thing. And also looking at the virtuals ecosystem, they kind of have built in this like flywheel that I think could really see the virtuals price do some pretty wild numbers. Here we're actually looking at about 3.46 billion in total market cap, because they do have a total of 1 billion coins. So pretty small overall, and I think you'll realize that, you know, there's a lot higher for us to go potentially as I work through kind of what is going on with the virtuals ecosystem, how it works and why it works, some of the important things like that. But as we can see right now on price, things looking good. What I will say is it does look like potentially we could be in the early days of forming a wedge. Again, you know, no guarantees. We're still very early to like actually be able to say that this is coming with confidence, but this, hopefully you can see, you know, this is kind of how the base of the wedge would look. It seems that we could be seeing that again. If we do see this type of wedge form out and then we do break out of it again, the tip of the wedge is cut down here at around $2.50. So we could be seeing a further move to the downside before we break out of this wedge. Again, potentially, I don't even know if it's a wedge. This is a little just bit like we're in the speculation zone right now, kind of like the rest of crypto, if I'm being honest. But if we did see that, you know, we could potentially have a little bit further to fall, and then from there we could see a breakout, and that breakout could be pretty nuts. Again, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the virtuals ecosystem, a lot of that type of stuff. But if you are interested in trading the virtuals token, potentially even trading it on leverage, if you are interested, feel free to use my link in the description below to BTCC. A ton of different trading options here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, virtuals, obviously, XRP. So if you are looking to trade a lot of that type of stuff and you want a 10% bonus on your first time deposits, basically basically 10% free money. Really, really good deal. Feel free to go on ahead, check my link in the description below, and get signed up for BTCC. This 10% essentially free money is in addition to the extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So BTCC is throwing a whole bunch of money at you to get signed up and trade with them if you are interested. They've been around for a really long time, so they've got a good track record. 300 plus crypto futures, a ton of different trading options, a ton of different leverage options as well if you'd like. And then also no VPN or KYC necessary. Again, you have to be very careful with leverage. So they do spot if you are maybe just not interested in doing leverage specifically. They do have a ton of different spot options if you want to do that. So tons of different things to do with BTCC. Like I said, if you are interested, go ahead and get signed up. Carrying on with virtual specifically, I do think, what we're seeing out of the chart right now, looking pretty good. And I think we've got a long ways to go potentially on virtuals just because it's looking really, really bullish right now. The mind share continues to go up. Right now, we're kind of at the point where nobody really knows what's going on with AI agents. I think people understand that they could be valuable and they understand why they could be valuable, but we don't necessarily know what that looks like yet, right? We don't know really the kind of like what form they'll take, what the product market fit's going to be, how do people resonate with it. There's a lot of this stuff that is just, frankly, it kind of remains to be seen. So there's just a ton of kind of rampant speculation about people trying to pick the winners before we really even know what that's going to look like. And obviously the people who get lucky and guess right will do very, very well for themselves, but it's going to be very, very hard to pick some of those winners. And so anyway, if you aren't looking to like try and do that, I would say the best thing is just try and stay involved with the ecosystem, maybe even just buy the virtuals token overall. Like I'm saying, 100 virtuals tokens could potentially be really very, very valuable in time, because again, we've already talked about you need 100 virtuals tokens to launch an AI agent. And so at some point in time, this could actually become prohibitively expensive for people to launch an AI agent, at which point in time, it could be kind of like a badge of honor to kind of have your own AI agent. And that's why I think owning 100 virtuals could be a really, really good idea. If we do move on, virtuals is also kind of changing up how their ecosystem is working, which is really, really interesting. Let's actually move to this one first, because we can see that the virtuals protocol has accrued almost 13 million virtual tokens from post-bonding trading revenue since October 16th. What they're going to do with this is they're essentially going to go buy back and burn their respective agent tokens across a 30-day like trading weighted average price. Essentially, we can see a breakdown. They actually have a Dune board, so if you are interested, I'll actually like and repost this. So if you do want to check this out, I do have my X in the description below. You can go to the Dune board, check out kind of how this impacts each AI agent. But we've seen AI agents within the virtuals protocol pump a decent bit because of this news. And so, pretty cool overall. If we do look back at this kind of initial one that we were looking at, we can see that the reason virtuals is doing this, at least from how I understand it, is because they're wanting to essentially shake up how they're doing like their revenue model. And so obviously they've accrued about 40 million in revenue. Again, they're going to be using that on buybacks and burns right now so far. But what they're looking to do is essentially change up how they're like divvying out their taxes, I think, to create more of like an aligned ecosystem. So what we can see, obviously the taxes from the agent, they go to the agent creator being 30%, which again, I think is a good thing, because that means the agent creator doesn't necessarily need to own a ton of supply to actually like have an outsized benefit from the work that they are putting in. Then we can also see agent affiliates getting 20% of that, and then 50% going to the agent sub DAO. And so I'm assuming this agent sub DAO is kind of like where the holders of that coin are going to get rewarded. And then agent affiliates, I'm not exactly sure what this means. I still need to look a little bit further into it and see exactly like what an agent affiliate is defined as. Like, is that put in the contract address? Is that determined by the creator? How exactly does that work? I don't necessarily know for sure right now. But what we can see is this is a much more interesting like thought process of how to actually align both AI agents and incentivize people developing good quality AI agents, but also incentivizing the virtuals protocol, obviously, because if they're generating more trading fees in virtuals, the virtuals are going back by buying back and burning various different tokens. It creates kind of this flywheel where virtuals is essentially always becoming a more valuable asset. The agents within their ecosystem are going up. There's a whole bunch of kind of like, this makes more of this, makes more of this, makes more of this, which makes more of this, full circle type of thing. Really, really interesting, cool stuff. This is why I do think, if we are getting to the point where an agent creator is making 30% of their agent's revenue in taxes, everybody's going to want to own an AI agent on virtuals at some point in time, right? And especially if things get frothy, like this could be kind of the new like NFT of this cycle. It's kind of more of a flex to own a virtuals agent than anything else, because that means you had the 100 virtuals to create your own agent, right? And again, if we see virtuals 10x from here, we're looking at, it's about $340-ish at this point to create your own AI agent. At that point in time, maybe we see it be $3,400. Not a huge amount of money, but it's definitely like, it still becomes a substantial amount. And then maybe we get to, let's say virtuals gets to $100 billion market cap. That's 10 grand to create your own AI agent. Again, with the minimum buy-in. You can go up to more, but with the minimum buy-in, that's essentially 10 grand. That's not a trivial amount of money to be creating your own AI agent. So this is why I think with the flywheel effect that we are seeing, and with what we're seeing going on in the virtuals token, owning 100 virtuals could be very, very valuable, even just in a short period of time. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video. Hopefully kind of my reasoning for why I think this is so important kind of resonated with you. You understood kind of where I was going with it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do really like to read and respond to all of your guys' comments. Like I said, I do read and respond to all of them. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that would be a great way to do so. Also, please do give me a like and a subscribe, because it really, really does help me out, especially continue getting pushed further into the YouTube algorithm, growing my channel, all of that type of stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.